lawsuit, MrBeast did not have a standard employee handbook with basic policies. Instead, the company distributed a document titled How to Succeed in MrBeast Production. Now, the handbook allegedly included sections like, "It's okay for the boys to be childish," and I quote, "Do everything you can to empower the boys when filming." The lawsuit also claims the handbook said no does not mean no, and the amount of hours you work is irrelevant. Lorraine says this was the culture at Beast Industries, and for women in the office, she says it created a toxic, demeaning environment where complaints were dismissed and bad.
You know how you can solve that problem? Just don't hire women.
The lawsuit.
This is in some trouble, apparently.
MrBeast, the famed YouTuber and bona fide billionaire, is slammed with a scathing lawsuit, alleging he wrongfully terminated one of his employees when she returned from maternity. Beast work environment is so toxic, she was forced to work while in labor in the delivery room. And that's just the iceberg when it comes to shocking allegations. This is Scandal, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Sierra Gillespie.
Nah, there's no way MrBeast did that. It's weird because like I could see him doing that, but like I don't think so.
He is arguably the biggest creator on the planet.
Wait, do you guys think MrBeast has like CIA ties? Yeah. Considering
479 million followers, Super Bowl ads, a reality show on Amazon Prime, Jimmy MrBeast Donaldson, the guy who gives away private islands for clicks, who offered to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to any grocery store shopper who could stay inside a store for the longest amount of time. Oh, and he also, according to him, purchased the grocery store. But today, we're not talking about his latest stunt. No, we're here to talk about something much more serious. We're talking about a federal lawsuit filed just days ago against the content creator. The allegations inside, they paint a picture of MrBeast that, if true, his fans have never seen before. So buckle up. A former female executive.
I don't like when they do that. Because they're always trying to paint a picture like this nigga is like, you know, like something darker. We don't know the nigga to be good or bad or this or that. Like, I don't. As long as niggas ain't killing people, as long as they're not on no Epstein shit, like you know, no torture, CIA shit. Like, I feel like there's certain things where I just feel like this is none of our business. How they deal with their employees is how they deal with their employees. If they suck at it, like you got to think about some of these niggas, bro. They didn't grow up to be they weren't like they didn't get into this to be CEOs. They came into this to create content. So I promise you, if anybody is going to fuck up in a CEO position, it is always going to be content creators, because that's not their lane. You know what I mean? Like that, like you know, like deliberating and like doing all this with people. That's just not their lane. They're always going to fuck that up in one way or another, right? And it's going to take like a long time for people to get that. But he does it at such a scale that I can't imagine. Like when people are like given responsibility, it's just there's, you know, like it's just. It's content. You're making content, so like you probably don't have too many people that you trust with your visions and stuff like that. So like you know, that's why like I'm telling you, bro. Like I'm hiring all niggas, bro. I'm hiring like all black men, all black men, or just dudes in general, bro. Because like I'm not like the last thing I want as a content creator. And like niggas could get mad, like shorties could get mad at this all they fucking want and shit like that. I'm not having no bullshit with no shorties, bro. If I'm running a business, this, that, and the third, I'm just like, if in content creation, like if we're talking about like a clothing brand, this, that, and the third, like I'll probably be very loosely involved. So I would like, you know, obviously shorties and stuff like that, like any other sort of business, obviously. But when it comes to the content creation, just because of like what it is, just because of what I'm trying to do, like messages that I may be trying to convey and stuff like that, I want to be in the most comfortable environment as possible, where I'm not having to worry about if another individual feels uncomfortable if we talk about this or do that or whatever, right? And it would usually be with black dudes, like with black men and stuff like that. Like I would feel that's probably the most comfortable circle when it comes to just like trying to create content and stuff like that. Obviously, if there is like women, like female collaborators and stuff like that, your teams will collaborate on that level. You know what I mean? Whoever she's bringing with her stuff, whoever you're bringing with your stuff. But like when it comes to behind the scenes stuff, trying to get certain things done, I would need a dude because women do get pregnant. Like I see this, I'm like, women do get pregnant. You know what I mean? They do be having kids, like you know what I mean, and like they should be they should be able to do whatever the fuck they want to do at their job and stuff like that. That's why like I just personally, let's continue this going, but I'm just saying like I'm already kind of like, man, I kind of already know where this is going. It's like it would be tough. I would imagine, especially at the skill that he does things. I feel like it would be tough to find replacements. And then not only if that replacement does a good job, and then Shorty just comes back, like, and it's within her rights and stuff like that. But for me personally, as a nigga who's like running, like trying to just create content, and the minute it comes, like you just want to get that shit and idea out. You know what I mean? So you just want to get certain things done quickly in a certain way. So you've already trusted this person to do things in a certain way, and to just find somebody else and show them how to do that and get into that, get into that rhythm with that person is going to take forever. By the time you finally do get into that rhythm with that individual, Shorty's back. And then you gotta insert her, get her comfortable back. So it's just like you're gonna have a year where there's just gonna be one part of your like structure that's always like just weak, and it's nobody's fault. You know what I mean? And that's the worst part. It's nobody's fucking fault. It's just how this shit goes. So it's like, it's just frustrating. I can imagine that being frustrating trying to maneuver. It is what,
Of his is suing him, claiming that she was demoted after she complained about workplace harassment.
I was expecting a cape for MrBeast. I was expecting to be like, damn, nigga, like shit. But nah, like I could already see where this is going.
She's also claiming she was forced to work while in active labor. Oh, and she mentions this handbook. She says employees were given it, and it says, and I'm quoting this directly, quote, "No does not mean no." MrBeast is denying everything, but this isn't just a he said, she said. This is a 20-plus page file.
Okay, we need context for what the fuck he meant by that. No, we need context. I don't like when they do shit like, what's the okay, let's go back.
Directly, quote, "No."
Upon information and belief during plaintiff's employment, MrBeast did not have an employee handbook with the standard employment policies and practices. Instead, MrBeast distributed a handbook to employees titled "How to Succeed in MrBeast Production." That included sections such as "It's okay for the boys to be childish," and states, "If talent wants to draw on the whiteboard in the video or do something stupid, let them." The handbook states, "Do everything you can to empower the boys when filming." MrBeast directs employees to go to great lengths to get results, and that there are no excuses to not getting the job done. The handbook tells employees no does not mean no, and the amount of hours you work is irrelevant. And he's saying that, like, listen, I'm reading this and it's within this context, doesn't sound crazy. But if that's the only line you fucking read, that sounds insane. And then it says like the amount of hours you work is irrelevant. And I could believe that because you saw the work that he put in. And it's just like, nigga, you trying to work with me? This is how we got shit. This is how we got here. This is how you saw the scale of shit that we got. Don't come here and start bitching about, you know what I mean? Like, I just
does not mean no. MrBeast is denying everything, but this isn't just a he said, she said. This is a 20-plus page filing. So how serious is all of this? And what could happen if you take the biggest influencer in the world to court? Well, Let's find out.
Oh, you're gonna get
So, Mr.
buried by
Beast has more
lawyers, bitch.
subscribers than the population of Germany, and he is, by the numbers, likely one of the most successful creators in the current digital age. He was just honored, in fact, as one of Time magazine's most influential people. For years, the story was simple: Mr. Beast does crazy stunts, Mr. Beast gives away money, Mr. Beast is a good guy, but now there's another story.
I've never heard Mr. Beast is a good guy. Not saying that he isn't, but all I hear about Mr. Beast is that he's incredibly hardworking and philanthropic. Philanthropic. I feel like there's a longer version of that word that I'm like fucking up right now. But like, yeah, he just helps niggas out. Now, whether that's good or bad, it's like it's content. You know what I mean? So I just know him as a content creator. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know too many people like, yo, that Mr. Beast is one of the nicest guys in the fucking world. I've never heard any of these other people really talk about how nice he is, this, that, and the third. I always hear them talk about how hard he works. You know what I mean? So they're trying to, it's just you always gotta listen for narrative building. You know what I mean?
One that's been building in the background. In 2024, the New York Times reported that former contestants on his Beast game show sued, alleging dangerous conditions, lack of food, and medical neglect. That case, by the way, is still pending. And if you're not familiar with the show, basically, 1,000 people compete in crazy physical challenges, and the last one standing wins $5 million. Then, according to the Associated Press, allegations came that a longtime collaborator shared inappropriate messages with minors. Now, Mr. Beast had reportedly sent a memo to staff back in August of 2024, promising that he would create a culture that makes all our employees feel safe and allows them to do their best work. But now, a new lawsuit was filed on April 22nd in the Eastern District of North Carolina by a woman who says she was a former executive, Lorraine Mavromatis. Now, she's suing two of his companies, MrBeast YouTube LLC and Game Changer 24/7 LLC. According to the complaint, she's suing for FMLA violations, wrongful discharge, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. Now, Lorraine says she was hired by MrBeast back in August of 2022 as the head of Instagram. And within her first year with the company, she was promoted twice. First to head of creative and then to COO of verticals. Now that meant she was running a team of about 20 people, managing a monthly budget of $500,000. She says she even had a private office. She reported directly to the CEO. On the rise, perhaps? But then, according to Lorraine, she ended up walking into a culture no one warned her about. According to the lawsuit, Mr. Beast did not have a standard employee handbook with basic policies. Instead, the company distributed a document titled How to Succeed in Mr. Beast Production. Now, the handbook allegedly included sections like, it's okay for the boys to be childish, and I quote, do everything you can to empower the boys when filming. The lawsuit also claims the handbook said no does not mean no, and the amount of hours you work is irrelevant. Lorraine says this was the culture at Beast Industries, and for women in the office, she says it created a toxic, demeaning environment where complaints were dismissed and bad.
You know how you can solve that problem? Just don't hire women.
Lawsuit.
I'm telling you, like, my solution is just hiring black men, bro. Simple and plain. Like, we got the toughest skin. I think we're the most creative motherfuckers. And I'm talking about myself. I'm not talking about what Mr. B should do, but I'm talking about like what I would do, like if I was in his position and shit like that. I would just be hiring black men, bro. Simple and plain. Black content creators, black artists, black people, black men in those positions. I'm not even like, I'm like excluding black women from this too. Like, you know, I'm talking about women in general. Just quote unquote, just black men. Cause I'm like, look, I know what I'm willing to do. I've met a lot of black men in my life. Most of my best friends, like most of my closest friends, are black men and shit like that. So it's just like, look, I so far all the lawsuits that I've been hearing, women, assuming white women, right? Like, let's not let's be very fair. But yeah, I just avoiding all this bullshit in general and shit like that. It's just like, yo, like we need to, you know, like let's get shit done. We want to have a great environment. We want to be able to say what the fuck we want to say. You know what I mean? Like, I've never heard, and I'm gonna be very fair. Like I've worked a lot of labor jobs, a lot of, yo, what? Okay, sorry. I saw something weird there. yeah, I've worked a lot of labor jobs, this, that, and the third, or whatever, and like we'll complain, but we always work. You know what I mean? Like we'll be talked to crazy, this, that, and the third, but like we don't go and complain about this or that and like just like from my experience, like you know what I mean? Like the only times I've ever had to deal, like the only times I've ever heard anything like about complaining this in like labor environments or like environments where you're working with your hands is from women, and like you know, honestly, it benefits us sometimes in the long run because like things get a little bit easier. But the job, like, but for the company, things don't move quicker. Like you know what I mean? Things actually slow the fuck down. Like things actually start costing more. Then all of a sudden, people start losing jobs because things start costing more and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So in the long run, it doesn't help anybody. In the short term, it sounds great. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, this sucks for all of us. Yeah, let's change this. And then all of a sudden, we, you know, a quarter of us are missing. So like I just for me like you build with the people that you started with. You know what I mean? If it's your guys that stand in the third, and then like even if there is shorties that you started with and shit like that, that's cool too. But then after that, you really gotta start like you know bottlenecking the type of people you want. And I'm talking about whoever you are. Like if you're starting something, you continue building it with like minded people and people that um, fit within the culture that you're trying to build. A lot of the time, like we're forced into thinking like, oh, let's hire women, this, that, and the like. I'm talking about content creators specifically, not anybody else. Like and like women, like content creators who are women should be hiring like all women. You know what I mean? Like like simple and plain. Because for one, for it's like yeah, like simple and plain. Any like I always like because I don't want to hear like complaints from the other side, like from women being like, well, that I don't think that's fair. Like I think you know it should be equal. If somebody can do the job, they should be able to do the job. Yes and no. Like if there's a woman that could do that job, I know there's a man that could do that job too, and vice versa. Like you know what I mean. So I'm just going to hire the person that I feel the most comfortable around, and I won't have any sort of fear around. I always have a certain level of fear when I'm around women because I just like working because I don't know you. I don't know what you're willing to say, what you're willing to do, what you've been in through your life, like all these different things or whatever, right? But because like it's hit or miss, and it's the same thing with dudes. But there's just certain lines dudes don't cross with each other. Because I can put my hands on a dude. You know what I mean? Like it's just it's different because there's no real like there's just nothing there's just nothing I can do. I just have to kind of take it with women, and that's cool. And I know that sounds crazy to say or whatever, but it's just like out of respect. You know what I mean? Like you just take it, just out of respect. But with a dude, you don't have to do that, right? So there's also that part of it too, where like if a nigga starts talking to you crazy at work and shit like that, be like, listen, all right, this doesn't go on record. Y'all really do want to fight? And none of the other niggas are gonna be like, oh, it's a dangerous work environment. Nah, these two niggas just fought each other. Nobody got fired. You know what I mean? Like they wanted to fight, blah blah, and that's it. That's it. It's cool. Like you guys good now? Y'all can work now? Alright, let's get back to work now. Fuck. Like and it's just like it'd be like that. It's just, but like if a woman was there, it's just, like that environment, it's just like it would just be rough. It'd be tough, man. Like you can't there's certain ways where like you can't I feel like there'd be like a lot I don't know. I just feel like there'd be a lot of settings that would be a lot better if it was strictly just men and strictly just women. But that's just me. You know what I mean? I don't think every field should be like that, but I think there's certain fields um where it is like that, especially when you have unqualified CEOs. Like content creators are usually unqualified CEOs. So I don't think they're responsible enough to have you know what I mean? Look at you to have such a diverse staff and shit like that. I feel like if you are like a Fortune 500 company and stuff like that, I think you should get to the point where like you know you have all these different things in place and stuff like that. Because all of those things that you keep in place to have that sort of staff, those diverse staffs, cost a lot of money. It costs a lot of money to keep everybody happy and make sure everybody is being treated fairly, and to make sure it costs money. But like when you're just hiring dudes, you know we know we're gonna treat each other fairly, bro. Like I'm gonna break you off when I gotta break you off. This is the money we agreed on. This is how we're doing things. You getting paid more than that nigga because that nigga's doing more than you, nigga. What he's doing is more important than you, even though you're working harder. That's why he's getting paid more, nigga. Like, if you knew how to do what he's doing, it'd be like those type of conversations. But then a shorty gets into the conversation, this man's making more than me, and we work the same amount of hours. It's like, bitch. Like, it's just so many different things. There's just so many different things. Like, you know what I mean? And it's just like, and then you end up sounding like how I sound. Like, you know what I mean? Misogynist, like a misogynist. Like, you know what I mean? Like a sexist, like all these different things. But it's just like, if we could have more honest conversations about these things, and like, honestly, and then shorties could point out like where I'm like, why I am insensitive in this situation, like, and like what I'm saying right now, and point out exactly why, and blah, blah, blah. And then we can have these type of dialogues and build better work environments and change minds of people who feel the way that I feel, if there needs to be changing. Like, if their minds need to be changed in that way. But for me personally, seeing shit like this just solidifies where the fuck I stand with some of this shit, bro.
Behavior was excused. According to the lawsuit, the harassment started early and came right from the top. Lorraine says that the company's former CEO, James Warren, who, by the way, is Jimmy Donaldson's cousin, subjected her to sexual harassment. She says he forced one-on-one meetings at his private home in an upstairs, dimly lit room while commenting on the way she looked in her clothes. But it gets stranger than that.
What?
He forced one-on-one meetings at his private home in an upstairs, dimly lit room while commenting on the way she looked in her clothes. But it gets stranger than that. She asked Warren,
I gotta be careful because I didn't. It sounds, when she says dimly lit room, it just, now you're creating you're just creating something that I don't feel needed to be added. I don't know.
is Jimmy Donaldson's cousin, subjected her to sexual harassment. She says he forced one-on-one meetings at his private home in an upstairs, dimly lit room while commenting on the way she looked in her clothes. But it gets stranger than that. She asked Warren why MrBeast wouldn't work with her on certain projects. And here's where the lawsuit alleges Warren told her, quote, Jimmy gets really awkward around beautiful women. Let's just say that when you're around and he goes to the restroom, he's not actually using the restroom. Regarding bathroom trips, the company actually called...
Yo, Jimmy, beat the shit out of your cousin, fam. Beat the dog. Like, don't even fire that nigga. Beat the dog shit out of that nigga, bro. Why is he saying that? I don't think his cousin would say that. Do you think a nigga would say that to another show? I don't know. If this wasn't, like, if there's no recording, I don't believe the story.
Awkward.
If Jimmy believes the story, though, he needs to beat the shit out of his cousin.
Around beautiful women. Let's just say that when you're around and he goes to the restroom, he's not actually using the restroom. Regarding bathroom trips, the company actually called this claim fabricated. They said MrBeast's trips to the bathroom are actually due to Crohn's disease. And as a matter of fact, they had a lot more to say, which, by the way, we're going to get into all of that. But Lorraine says the alleged comment had a deeper impact on her. She says she started to wear baggy clothes and baseball caps to work just so that her looks wouldn't negatively impact her or affect her employment. The lawsuit also describes other allegations of demeaning treatment. She says MrBeast asked her to fetch him a beer before he would do a video, shooting a video, something she never saw him ask another male colleague. She says a male colleague told her to shut up and stop talking during a staff meeting when she asked a question. She also says that when she complained about a wealthy male client who was making unwanted romantic advances, that Warren told her she should be honored that a billionaire client was, quote, hitting on her. So in November of 2023, Lorraine says she reached a...
Yeah, like, I'm sorry, but I'm like, listen, I'm not saying she's wrong. I'm not saying she's wrong about how she feels about certain things. I'm just saying I don't need these problems, fam.
Tipping point, she made a formal complaint to Human Resources. And guess who she says was running HR? Jimmy Donaldson's mother, Susan Perisher.
Hey.
According to the lawsuit, Lorraine detailed her claims of sexually inappropriate encounters, the harassment, the demeaning treatment. She says Perisher told her the complaint would be thoroughly investigated and that she would take care of the matter. But 2 months later, in January of 2024, the investigation came back, and according to Lorraine, her claims were found to be unsubstantiated. And so on that same day, January 23rd, 2024, allegedly, she was demoted and transferred. So that meant she went from COO of Verticals, an executive role with a private office, 20 direct reports, and a $500,000 budget, to social media manager for the merchandise division. The lawsuit says she was sent to work remotely at home. She didn't have an office anymore. She supervised no one and barely interacted with any executives. The complaint says MrBeast employees called this division, quote, where careers go to die. And if all of this wasn't shocking enough, wait until you hear what she says happened when she got pregnant. We're now in January 2025. Lorraine told her supervisor she was pregnant and would need to leave for the birth of her child. According to the lawsuit, MrBeast did
Wait, leave where? You work at home.
not provide her with any written notice of her rights under the Family and Medical Leave Act. No eligibility notice, no designation notice, no nothing. On March 31st, 2025, she gave birth. She claims it was a pretty difficult delivery, and her baby needed some time in the neonatal intensive care unit. But according to the complaint, MrBeast did not let her rest. She says her supervisor asked her to work on a product launch just days after giving birth. She says she was asked to stand for 10 hours at an exhibition booth 3 weeks postpartum. She was sent to Brazil for a video shoot. Now, Lorraine told the Associated Press in an interview, I was still bleeding and I just had to show up. According to the complaint, she was on a work conference call while in the labor and delivery room. She says she was afraid that if she refused to work, she would lose her job. But unfortunately for her, on November 6th, 2025, less than 3 weeks after Lorraine returned full-time from her FMLA leave, she claims MrBeast terminated her. According to the lawsuit, she was told her position was being eliminated, but also that she was too high caliber for the role she had been demoted to. But instead of offering her another position, she says the company offered her a severance agreement. According to the lawsuit, they tried to leverage medical coverage for her newborn to coerce her into signing away her legal claims. She says she refused. And according to the complaint, MrBeast posted a job opening for a social media content manager around the time of her termination. She says she was not offered the role or even a chance to apply, and that the company ended up filling this position with a man in early 2026. Now, we reached out to Lorraine for a comment. She didn't get back to us, but MrBeast's team is speaking out. A spokesperson for Beast Industries said, quote, this clout-chasing complaint is built on deliberate misrepresentations and categorically false statements, and we have the receipts to prove it. There is extensive evidence, including Slack and WhatsApp messages, company documents, and witness testimony that unequivocally refutes her claims. We will not submit to opportunistic lawyers looking to manufacture a payday from us. The company also specifically addressed the alleged bathroom comment from James Warren, calling it ridiculous. This is an allegation fabricated for the sole purpose of sparking headlines. It's also disgusting that the lawsuit is exploiting Jimmy's eye condition and Crohn's disease to medical conditions he has been publicly open about. On the demotion claim, the company called it false and inaccurate. On the FMLA notice allegation, the company shared a screenshot of her signature confirming receipt of the employee handbook, including FMLA policies. And on the termination, the spokesperson said Lorraine was not fired, that her role was eliminated alongside others amid a company-wide restructuring. All right, so we walked you through the entire lawsuit, and now I want to dive a little deeper, break it all down with an expert. So let's bring him on. It's a friend of the show, entertainment and employee attorney Cameron Dolan-Shai. Thank you so much, Cameron, for coming on with us today. And I mean, there's so many avenues I could go down with this lawsuit. What are just your initial thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, there's been a culture at the company seemingly of hostility towards employees, hard driving, results oriented, which is not atypical of startups and successful founders. But obviously, there's a line, and that line is the law, and federal law in this case.
Some of these allegations, too, are truly egregious. The plaintiff who's filing this attorney or this lawsuit, rather, she alleges that she had to work, while she's very pregnant up until when she's in the delivery room, which I've never given birth, but word on the street, it's not super easy to do.
Yeah.
It probably, takes a lot out of you as, it does. But for her to be working while she is literally in labor, I mean, what do you make of that allegation?
I mean, the law specifically protects pregnant women as it should. Women that take FMLA leave, the Family Medical Leave Act. It's specifically designed for this. As a society, we would want to protect our mothers, our expecting mothers. And so to jeopardize the health of a woman and her baby is egregious, to say the least.
And, honestly, just to be completely frank with you,
She could have refused the work though. Like, the reason why she didn't say no is because she was scared that she would get fired. So she never took the chance to actually say no. Why is your fear my responsibility? I asked you if you could do something. You said yes. That's it. I don't see the problem. I don't see what he did. Like, I think it's fucked up that he that he asked. If they knew what she was going through, then it's fucked up to even ask. But if they asked, it's because there was nobody else to fill that position. Hey, can you do this? Like, are you up for it? Yeah, I can do it. It's like, all right, bet. Don't know. Are you sure? Yeah, all right, bet. That's it. That was probably that conversation. Now it's this deeper, darker thing where it's just like, bitch, like, if you don't.
I'm at the age thinking about maybe having kids. And this is something that a lot of my peers, other women, have to think about too. How is this going to affect work? Yes, legally, I'm allowed to take off for maternity leave, whatever it may be, about 3 months. But then after that, will my job be waiting for me? And yes, it should be. But I mean, in this case, she says that after a couple of weeks, she came back and her job was kind of deleted, taken away. She was fired completely. So can you kind of explain how that works? I mean, your job should be safe if you're on maternity leave, right?
Correct. Under FMLA, you get 12 weeks unpaid, and you're protected for some time after that, which is what a lot of people don't know. If you have some sort of complications or medical issues, the employer is supposed to accommodate you. And if they don't, that's a violation of the Fair Employment and Housing Act, FEHA. So there's multiple protections for people, and I know it's scary potentially to have your job taken away, but as a plaintiff's attorney, I want to give reassurance to people out there that there are a lot of us, for better or worse, and willing to represent people who have been harmed by their employer.
Because it truly shouldn't be something on the mind of a new mother. She should be focusing on her recovery, number
Absolutely.
one, and then
Yeah, this is why I don't want a business with this type of shit. Oh man, bro. Like, this is just too much to give a fuck about. Like, your baby is your baby. It's not my baby. I don't fucking care. My baby is my business. You know what I mean? And it sounds cutthroat, but it's fucking business, bitch. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't like, that's why, like, I understand the laws or whatever, blah blah yada yada. But he just said if there's complications. Like, she was 3 weeks into the job. Like, she just came back for 3 weeks. The job no longer requires somebody. Because it doesn't exist. Like, I can't fill a position that no longer exists, bitch. Like, you're gone. I'm sorry, but like, you gotta go. Like, you know what I mean? And like, if you're gonna accuse somebody with something, you gotta have proof. Simple and plain. Like, you can't go to the police without no evidence. You can't. So if you're going to a job and you're just like making a claim about this, and this, you have to fucking have proof, or else you look crazy. Every fucking time. Hey, what's good, Night? Like, you look great, and thank you for the follow. But you look fucking crazy. Like, it's the stupidest shit to me. Like, why? Like, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes when I listen to this stuff or whatever, because I'm just like, dog, like, you said some shit that happened, and it could have easily happened, but you didn't prove it. They did an investigation. There was nothing to fucking prove. I watched Tornado Chasers. Oh shit, how was that? What was I saying? I forgot what I was saying. Fuck, I lost my train of thought. All right, let's get back into it.
life of her baby too. Exactly. So work, I mean, yes, work is very important and it's an identity for a lot of us. And, you know, by the looks of it, she had a pretty cool job, but based on the
I got like 2 more videos to go. If you just type in the name and then I can put it, and we can watch that next. Actually, what's next up on the docket? Yeah, we can watch that next. So it's gonna be a Yudi video next, but yeah, just type it in chat, and it'll be the next video we watch.
the allegations she has, the toxicity in the work environment, again, all allegations, it doesn't sound super great. So what do you think about her claims? I mean, do you think that she has a pretty strong case here?
I do. Getting fired 3 weeks after you come back and being forced to work without any sort of accommodations is pretty egregious. So she'll be able to point to the timing, what we call the temporal proximity between her termination and when she gave birth, as well as what we like to call Me Too evidence, which is evidence of other hostile work environment claims against the company to show some context and some color as to what was going on at MrBeast company.
Okay, now you're opening the door to a whole other set of allegations that she's brought forth. And by the way, these aren't the first time that we've heard anything like that. Kind of the MrBeast culture there have been some rumors about kind of what happened. And in this lawsuit, she straight up says, this is a boys club. This is, you know, I'm a woman, a female who worked here, but it kind of was leaning more toward the, you know, the guys, you know, guys being guys. Oh, no doesn't really mean no kind of thing. Right. And so does that do a good job of showing a pattern of, I guess, a toxic workplace?
Absolutely. These cultures are prevalent, often in the tech industries, video game industries, and now you see in social media industries where they're led by young male founders who unfortunately don't have the experience and wisdom to properly care for their employees and especially women in this case. You know, there's a mentality for many startups and people of that generation. It's break stuff and apologize later, right? And so unfortunately for them, and fortunately for the employees, there is a line there. And so employees shouldn't be scared to exercise their rights and find lawyers when they think, you know, their rights have been violated.
I think it's just so tough because when you tie in something like work, for a lot of people, for myself included, it is our identity. Yeah. It's what we like to do. We went to school for this. We got the job. It's great. But now, you know, we need to pay bills. If this woman had a child, she has to provide for her. Okay, I need to make money from this company. So kind of feeling scared to speak up. Is that something you ever run into?
All the time. All the time. I have to reassure clients all the time who are very, very fearful. Luckily, at least in California, we have significant verdicts and judgments against these companies, you know, for 10x or high multipliers of their salaries. So yes, it's a temporary serious nuisance not to have that income come in, but potentially you could have a lot more coming in damages if you have a good lawyer representing you.
This fucking leech. Fucking bitch. All right, I'm done with that. We can watch what you're trying to watch, because this is actually just gonna start pissing me off.